we talked about the Stanley Cup futures and betting the Eastern Conference in the coming weeks. Now, the Western Conference looks a little more difficult conference to cap than the East right now. So which teams do you think are most motivated and possibly the best teams to bet on in the coming weeks? Let's start with you, Dave.
Vancouver is definitely the best team out there as far as talent-wise, but they're going to be priced as the best team. But the West definitely has some teams that are capable of either reshaping the playoffs by extending games and putting a good team into a seventh game situation, or wearing a top team out where they're vulnerable in the next round. Nashville's a tough team. They play good defense. They have great goaltending. They have some scorers with that in Fisher, who's a gritty player. Another team that's good, that just took a hit, 2 injuries, is the Kings, which they lost Jason Williams and Anze Kopitar. But now they're another team that has 2 good goaltenders and they play defensive well. That's a team that can definitely do some damage and extend it. As far as the playoff race isn't settled yet, I think Calgary lost a big one last night in Anaheim, which pretty much is going to end their season with 4 games left and 3 points back, whereas Anaheim has put themselves in the 6th spot, and I think Dallas is the only team that could sneak in there, and they still have 7 games left, and they get Anaheim in Anaheim. But as far as a playoff run, I would watch Detroit. They're a veteran team. I think right now they're scuffling a bit with injuries, but they're also I could see them playing possum right here. It's not that they want to play bad, but they're not really worried about playing real good hockey right now.
Icy, what do you think of Dave's analysis there?
I think it's good. It's one of those things. The Western Conference is so wide open as well. I also agree with them. I think Dallas is the only team that can really kind of sneak in there. Having said that, I don't really trust Dallas, because to me they remind me of a fickle team sometimes. Sometimes they do well, sometimes they don't. But I agree. I think that's the only team that possibly could sneak in there as well. I agree with them. I think Nashville is a team to really keep an eye on. What people don't realize is Nashville's offense isn't that great. I think they're 24th or 25th, but their defense is excellent. They're top 5 in the league in defense. They're top 10 in shutouts and penalty kills as well. And they've won 8 of their last 10 as well, and they beat some really good teams lately too. In fact, they just lost to Vancouver 1-3, but I'm trying to think the last time they lost back-to-back games. I think it goes as far back as late February 26th, 27th was the last time, or 24th, 26th, last time they lost back-to-back games. So, Nashville's a very good team that kind of goes under the radar, and they can be at a very good price at times. So that's a team to keep an eye on in the West as well.
So some teams in the Western Conference are already considered toast. Do you think that any of these teams might have other motivations that might be worth a bet in the coming weeks? Let's start with you first, Icy.
Possibly, Judy, but I just think it's kind of scary in the Western Conference, because it is in such a limbo. And I think as far as when you're looking for value, I think the Eastern Conference actually, shapes up for a little bit more value, just because there are a few more teams kind of competing for those last few spots. But as far as the Western Conference is concerned, the only one that I had highlighted was simply because I trusted. I think Dave probably will agree with me. Motivation's a huge factor, don't get me wrong, and you're always looking for revenge spots as well. But, you also want to look for teams that you kind of trust. You know what I mean? That the teams that you kind of have a little bit of faith in to actually get the job done. Because a line is useful and values are useful, but it's only useful if you trust that team to actually pull it off. It's not like in basketball where you have a spread to cover of 12 points. I mean, usually a team has to win or they don't win, similar to baseball, So I think Nashville is the only team that I have highlighted as far as the West is concerned.
Brilliant, great. And what about you, Dave?
Yeah, basically, once you get into the playoff situation, everybody's motivated to win. Some might be, there are teams now that are in playoff mode, and it's more in the East, like the Buffaloes, like the Montreal, like the Rangers, like Carolina, who are trying to hold on to their playoff spot or get in the playoffs. I think the West is going to be great playoffs, great playoff hockey. I'm excited to see the playoff matchups. There's some teams I like out there. As long as they fall in the right matchups, that I think there will be opportunity there. But there's always value. I think there's value with two of the worst teams in the NHL tonight. But beauty is in the eye of the beholder, I guess.
Good point. Thanks to Indian Cowboy and Dave Busk from DocSports.com. Hopefully we'll catch up with these guys again to talk NHL in 2 weeks' time. And thank you for watching SBR.tv. If you have any questions that you'd like to ask either expert or follow up to the show, please leave a comment on our thread in the Hockey Handicapping Forum on SBRforum.com. And of course, for the latest videos, subscribe to our YouTube page at SBR.dot.tv.